Hey everyone, welcome to yet another fun-filled episode of my Partridge Family collection. I'm your host, Patty. I'm glad that you're joining me again. We have some great things to share for you on this channel, and I'm excited about this episode because I'm going to show you something that you've probably never seen before. I don't know, maybe you have. But when I was a kid growing up in the early 70s, and I was probably 7, 8 years old. I don't know about you, but I loved reading comic books. My friends were reading Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boys and Secret Garden and Great Expectations and all those books. I was just devouring comic books and Mad magazines. I loved Mad magazines, but mostly comic books, and I've kept them. I have a pretty good collection of comic books, and uh, not that they're worth anything, but just I kept them since I was a kid, and they bring back a lot of memories. And one of my favorite comic book series, we still have. And guess what? It's the Partridge Family. Did you know that they had comic books? They did. And we're going to go through my collection of comic books. I have a complete set, and I'd like to dive into some comic books individually, and I think we'll do that at a later show. But for right now, I just want to go through the whole collection. And the comic books, if you didn't know, they were first published in March 1971, and they ran through November of 1973. So very short window, as we see with the Partridge Family, 3 years of comic books. They were published by Charlton Comics. The illustrations were by Don Sherwood, and he did all of them from number 1 through number 21 was the numbered set. It went 1 through 21, and there were 3 volume sets. And at the beginning of the year, they would just say, now this is volume 2, but the numbering system would continue. So let's take a look at it. All right, let's take a up close look at this amazing collection. Let's change cameras here. All right, so here we go. We got this huge binder. Like I said, there's 21 issues. There's a little bit more in this binder because, of course, I have doubles of some of them. Some I had for many years, and they're comic books, so they have thin paper and they get worn out really quickly. So if I come across one that I already have, obviously because I have all 21 editions in here or issues, I'll try to replace it with a better quality, or not replace it, but add to it. Let's put it that way. So let's take a look inside. I've taken this one out of the plastic just so that you can see without the glare. I'm going to do my best to cut the glare as much as possible. Hopefully that works. So this is number 1, and it was published in March of 1971. So it's like, it's over 50 years old, and it shows. Every time I take it out of the plastic, I rip something because the paper is so thin. It's just a matter of time before it just crumbles, right? And that's just like, that's the good and the bad about comic books. It's kind of a catch-22. You want to take it out, you want to look at them, you want to smell them, you want to, read them from front to back, but at the same time, you want to be really careful because every time you do that, something happens like this, like a little tear here and there. So, and if I were a real professional collector, I'd have these graded and in like heavy, plastic, like they have, like you would see in trading cards. But, this is a fun collection for me, and I like to look at them. I like to take them out. It's not something I'm going to resell. So I don't, hopefully I can pass it down to somebody who enjoys this kind of stuff as much as I do one day. But for now, I'm enjoying him. And that's the part of being a collector, is enjoying your collection, I think. So this is kind of the format of we'll go through all of them, and you can kind of see how they changed over the years. And what they did was like like I said, they kept the numbering, so they went 1 through 21, and then when the year switched, so 1972, they went to volume 2, And then in 1973, they went to volume 3. So, and that's how they did it. And of course, it ran until November 1973 was the last published one. And that's number 21. That's also a kind of a rare one as well. They're kind of hard to find. But just kind of want to go through this whole collection. Like I said, like maybe we'll have another show where we just look at it at volume 1, number 1. And then, you know, volume 3, number 21. So we'll look at those two, I think. And then if I find anything else interesting about these comic books, you know, on other numbered ones, we can go through that as well. So, you know, a lot going on in the cover. We see that they have the cast names here. Shirley Jones as Shirley, David Cassidy as Keith, Susan Day as Lori, Danny Bonaducci as Danny, Suzanne Krauf as Tracy, and then Jeremy Gelwatz as Christopher. And then, of course, Simone the dog. Simone's still there. Of course, we saw the exit of Simone, and I guess we'll have to do an episode on Simone at one point. But her spirit lived on. It lived on in the logo because the logo never changed. We always had Simone there in spirit, even though she probably lasted 1 season, I think, along with Jeremy Gelwatz. So yeah, so this is number 1. And it's, you know, I acquired it, and so it's got, somebody wrote their name, which I love. Purists and comic book aficionados poo-poo this. They don't like it, but I like it because it's like, this is something I did, right? And when I had a comic book, when I had any book, I just wrote my name all over it. Records, I did the same thing. Trading card, baseball cards, did the same thing. So then I love it. It gives it a more personal feel, like somebody actually liked this book, read it from front to back. And of course, you got to love the old advertisements. Black Cow, remember that? Slowpoke. I'm often like tempted to send one of these in. You think it would come back to sender, but it would be kind of fun. Maybe I'd get a football jersey. Man, and I wish you could smell this because you can just smell the old comic book smell. Written by Don Sherwood, written and illustrated by Don Sherwood, I should say. I think I said it. He was illustrating, but he also wrote the stories. And there's actually, I don't know if in volume 1, number 1 has them, but there's also song lyrics. And he actually wrote like song lyrics, which were basically, I guess, poems more or less, but he treated them like songs, and he wrote those as well. So I don't know, maybe we'll run across one in here. I haven't looked at this in such a long time, I don't remember, and I think they were still just kind of feeling it out at this point. These were great. How many of these did you send away for? I think I sent away for all of them. And the sea monkeys, remember? Oh, you can get a pet baby raccoon, a squirrel monkey, a wooden nickel. So great. And then, of course, on tour, I don't know if you can see these. I'll kind of zoom in. There you go. Color still looks good. You know, Don Sherwood did a lot of work on these. Like, look at this illustration of Chris. I mean, so good. So great on that. A portfolio of the Partridge Family. These are always cool. I probably tore these out and hung them on my wall. I'm sure I did. And then, you know, just the natural coloring that you would see on a 52-year-old comic book. 52, 53-year-old. David Cassidy, Susan Day. We'll talk about Susan Day's outfits too, because I have some paper dolls and things that were released back in the day, and they really highlighted her outfits and they made a big deal out of it. So we'll talk about those too. Jeremy Gelwatz. And it looks like they tried to, he reproduced their signatures. Looks pretty close to David's signatures from what I've seen. And of course, the little kids signing their name in block letters. I have this stamp, this Walt Disney stamp. I wonder how much it's worth now. Probably nothing. Al Unser. Military men, your credit is good. Remember, this is early 70s, Vietnam War. Yeah, not a lot of good things were said to our military veterans at the time, which was a shame. So the fact that they're actually marketing to them in a good way is awesome. World's finest military rings. Great, great, great. Wow. So cool. So, I mean, that's pretty much what you're going to get with every single one of these issues. So yeah, so number 2, made number 2. And we see these getting a little bit better. Like I said, we probably could see better if I took them out of the plastic. And we'll definitely go back and look at some of these more closely in another episode, but just kind of wanted to show you the whole collection on a whole. And I think the colors for the most part have stayed pretty well. I can't resist taking them out. I know, I hate it. It's not bad taking them out, it's putting them back into the plastic. And I do it periodically because, like I say, I'm not an expert collector, but I do know that this acetate should be swapped out every once in a while. I collected baseball cards for many years, and I learned that the hard way, that this acetate needs to be replaced every few years. So we see this a lot with offset printing. Like, obviously this is Shirley Jones's lips, or her lipstick, and it's outside of her mouth. So the red, so their color bar, I guess, wasn't lined up. And I try, when I do go out and look for these comic books, I do try to make sure the colors lined up, because you can see the red is a little off. It's a little off. It's bleeding in areas. I think this is probably one of the more popular, if not the most disturbing looking cover. But I see this a lot on eBay, and this is in pretty good condition. I think you can find these in pretty good conditions. The number 4, September of 1971. So this is the end of the first season. And then something interesting happens. Now this is, it's not numbered on the front, but it is number 5, and it's, you know, it's called Summer 1971. It's the summer special giant issue. The giant issue is 25 cents as opposed to, I think, 15 cents. Yeah, 15 cents. So a little extra. There's a pinup section. Maybe we'll take a closer look at this one at a later time. And then something happens here with number 6. I don't know if you can spot it. This was published in January of 1972. We go into volume 2 now. So this is volume 2, number 6, January 1972. And the interesting thing about this, besides the blue being a little off in spots, is Chris. Of course, that was the beginning of the 2nd season, and they replaced Jeremy Gelbwatz with Brian Forster, who in my opinion was a better Chris to begin with. But it looks like in this comic book, and credit to Mr. Sherwood, he still has Jeremy Gelbwap's face, but now he's got blonde hair, which matches Brian Forster. Of course, had blonde hair, but that's not Brian Forster's face. And we'll see that on the next issue too, in number 7. All right, like, who is this? Kind of looks more like Brian Forster down here. The new Chris. Number 7 was published February 1972. So it's volume 2, number 7. This is in pretty good condition. And there you go. There's probably, I'd say, the first official, try not to get the glare, the first official appearance of Brian Forster, number 8. Love this picture. Now, another one of those pictures that we see, and we see this a lot, and we'll go over it on another show, is that these, you know, the photography had a lot to be desired sometimes. They went with poses that wouldn't fly today, like in today's digital world of photography and Photoshop and everything. They wouldn't you know, you got two cast members looking off there. You've got Danny kind of looking down. Shirley with her, looks like she's in mid-sentence. So I'm sure there were plenty of takes on this one, but this is the one that they chose to go to for the comic book, which is interesting. And I recently tore this, so I'm on the hunt for a new one. Again, it was one of those things where I was taking it out and it tore. The paper is like paper thin. So, and then also inflation went from 15 cents in 1971 to 20 cents in 1972. So slowly climbing up. But of course, I still could afford it. My lunch money, my allowance. And Don Sherwood, just great stories and illustrations. Simone makes an appearance there. It's awesome. Simone sighting. Oh, another Simone sighting. This is good. You got Ruben in there now. Number 11, The Haunted Town. August of 1972. I actually have two of these because, yeah, I do. I have two of these. Because this one, you know what? I think I'll take this out because I know one of these, I think the cover is completely off. And so that's why I have two. And I'm not sure if it's this one. No, this one's intact. Okay, yeah, but yeah, see that? Oh, it's so close to being... We're just going to put this back in because this was my better copy. The Haunted Town. Oh, see what I mean? There you go. Ah! It never fails. Look at it. It's just like crumbling in your hand. And comic book purists and experts are crying right now because I'm mishandling these old books so badly. But like I said, I'm a collector, but I'm not like a fanatic about perfection. And like I said, I'm not looking to sell this, but I do know, okay, I don't know, this one's not, yeah, there's a reason why I had two, but I can't remember. But we'll take a look at this one a little bit, The Haunted Town, because it's summer of 1972, August 1972, right? Number 11, yep. And I just remember like going to the beach, taking my comic books, and they'd get thrashed with sand and all that salt water in the air, and you know, but it didn't bother me. I'd sit out there with my baby oil on and my zinc oxide on my nose and just devour these comic books. Boys Beauty, popularity, only $1. This is how they marketed the Partridge Family back in those days. I'm looking for Don Sherwood's song lyrics, which basically didn't really have any songs, but they were just lyrics, I guess. I don't see it in here, so it might be in a later version. Ah, all right, that's okay. We'll find it. Oh, remember these? Oh, you can have your pick of pictures, only $1 per photo. And they made all the money from this, right? You know, David Cassidy didn't get any money from this. There was no, like, what do they call that? Imaging, licensing, image. Great stuff. I'll put those back. Partridges Don't Lay Eggs, number 12. September of 1972. This is in pretty good condition for an, you know, 50-year plus book. Oh, this was my favorite one. I was thinking I had two of these, but I might have gone through them over the years. The Cry in the Castle, very scary. Laurie's Liberation. That was December. Let's see, number 14, December 1972. So we're still in volume 2, and then number 15 will be, it's published January of 1973, and that's the start of volume 3 in the last volume, The Secret Tunnel, another good one. let's see if the lyrics are in this one. I'm thinking by 1973 he did have the lyrics. It's in pretty good condition. You know, sometimes you'll see the stapling a little off. That doesn't bother me. Some wrinkles. I've seen this picture before. It's very popular. And then we'll look through here. Again, Don Sherwood still writing and illustrating these. And then all the ads. Got to make money off those guys. Yeah, so they didn't, you know, this was before they had like the those likeness licensing, right? Nowadays you can't really use people's likenesses without them getting some money for it or some residuals. And we know the cast of the Partridge Family didn't have that. So Screen Gems, and everybody used Susan Day and David Cassidy, and they did all that and made all the money. It's quite a shame. I don't think David Cassidy ever really got over that. Oh, these are actual songs. So not a Don Sherwood original. These are actual Partridge Family songs. And you have the lyrics in here, which were cool because in those days we didn't have the internet, so we couldn't go on and find out what the lyrics were. And the Partridge Family albums didn't include, for the most part, didn't include their lyrics. So I just remember, like, with my headphones on, you know, writing the lyrics, starting the record, taking the needle off, putting it back on, you know, trying to write as fast as I could. So to have something like this was really cool. Some great songs on here. Copyrighted Screen Gems, Columbia Music. Nice. 1971. Hey, Neil Diamond. So kind of cool to look through these. Ooh. Now, I have a pretty good collection of the Tiger Beats official magazine, the Partridge Family magazine. So we'll go through those too in upcoming episodes. Here you go. So this is kind of an original song. That's not, I don't know that it's really a song, but it's written by R.J. Simpson, not Don Sherwood, although trust me, he has some in here. I'm going to find it. The song is The Successful Search. It's not a song that the Partridge Family recorded that I know of. So it might have just been, like we said, a made-up song for the comic book. Pets for Profit. This seems like this was actually taken from an episode, a real episode. Remember the hamster episode? They started to breed uncontrollably, and they had too many hamsters. I haven't really read through this comic book, so not sure if it was verbatim for that one episode with the hamsters. Cool. All right. Well, Keith's hero image. I liked when they kind of incorporated real images with the comic books and made them different. Oh, I was wondering why I couldn't see through there. Again, another interesting photo of the Partridge Family with Susan Croft not really looking very happy. But hey, we'll go with it. Let's go with it. So number 17, we're getting up to the end here. Oh, this is one of my favorite ones. It's in pretty good condition. Number 18. So now we're like, number 18, published May 1973. '20. Looks like a better photo. It's the grooviest. Okay, and then this is 20. The Millionaire Kid, another good one. Still only 20 cents in 1973. Great condition. And there's the last one. Number 21. Published November of 1973. Volume 3. This is a kind of rare. I mean, they're out there, but in this condition, I think you'd be hard pressed to find one in this type of condition. But you know, 1973, it's a 50-year-old, as of this recording, 50-year-old comic book. Not bad, huh? Ah, love it. And then, so that's it. And like I said, on another episode, maybe we'll take a look. We'll take a deep dive into number 1 and then number 21. I can learn more things about the comic books and do some more research and maybe talk to some experts and get some more information, because it's fun and it brings back a lot of memories, but it's also cool to kind of know a little bit more about them. So that's it. Volume 1, number 1, March 1971 through Volume 3, number 21, November 1973 was the last one published. And then, of course, as we know, the end of the show was the following year in 1974. So there you have it. That comic book series 1 through 21. Ah, I love it. How many did you have? I mean, how many of you had this comic book? I mean, how many comic books or Partridge Family comic books did you have? I don't know that I had them all, but I had a lot of them. It's because I was a comic book fiend. And of course, I love the Partridge Family. I put this back in very carefully. Ugh. My heart skips a beat every time I do this. This paper's so thin. Of course, it's flaking off as we talk. Wow. But still very cool. It's cool to have this. I love having them in my collection. I mean, because they're still pretty good. I mean, the color still pops. I mean, there's some offset issues going on, but, and then of course the paper's so thin. But super happy to have this in my collection in that huge volume. And like I said, I have other magazines and the Tiger Beat Partridge Family magazine as well. So go through some of those, and just really great to share this with you. I'm excited as always to share what I have in my collection, and I hope that it brings as much joy to you as it does to me. Just looking at some of those, I'm looking through some of those old advertisements and the way they marketed, you know, Keith and Lori and all the kids, and just and you know, featured the song lyrics and original song lyrics, you know, that were on Partridge Family albums, and then also that were just made up, that were basically poems that were inside the comic books as well. So really cool. It's really cool to have them. And like I said, you know, I'm not a professional comic book collector. I don't have anything rated as far as like the comic books go, because I like to take them out. I like to look at them, but I don't know, one day maybe I'll get serious about it and go out and get some really high quality comic books. They cost a lot of money, you know, with those high quality, like I said, you know, the Partridge Family items are out there. Just how much do you want to spend, you know, and what kind of quality are you going to find? So, but like I said, it's just fun to go through those, and evokes a lot of memories, you know, summertime at the beach, and just sitting on my bed reading comic books. I'm sure it brings back some memories for you too. Thank you for joining me on this episode. If you like my Partridge Family collection, give it a thumbs up. It helps people find the channel, and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss when new episodes drop. Also, if you're interested in my Partridge Family collection on TikTok, and you're on TikTok, join me there too. I'll be sharing a lot of the items in my collection there with some fun facts, some different angles maybe, and all that good stuff. So follow me there at My Partridge Family. Link is in the show notes. And like I always say, if you're a Partridge Family collector or lover of the Partridge Family, I'd love to hear from you. My email is also down below. Contact me. And if you have any collectibles or memorabilia from the Partridge Family, or from David Cassidy, or from Shirley Jones, or from Dave Madden, or whoever you like in the cast, send me an email. If you're looking to rehome some of those items, I'd be happy to take them off your hands. Like I say, this is an active collection. I'm always looking for new and interesting things, and maybe we can strike a deal. In the meantime, have a great day, and see you next time.